There's nothing worse than wrecking a perfectly good relationship. And you guys don't have to, because I've done it myself, so you guys don't have to. So I'm gonna tell you guys a few things that you can avoid so your relationship doesn't implode. These are things that guys do subconsciously. We don't really think about this stuff, to be honest, but I just came off of a 2-day retreat on the weekend where I had no screens, no music, which I love music, you guys know that, and no filming. So I've really locked in and had a big think of all this stuff. So I'm gonna just give it to you guys straight. Things that you can avoid to have better relationships with girls and navigate them better. So let's just jump right into this. The first thing that you want to avoid is being reactive. You don't want to react to things. And reacting, I mean, if something bad happens, there's trouble in paradise, you don't automatically do something. And usually when you automatically do something, it's not a good thing. This could come out in the form of raising your voice or saying something stupid. That's what I used to do a lot. I used to just say something stupid, the worst thing. And then she's like, what are you saying? I'm just like, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm reacting. So a way to not react, super simple, and you have to do this subtly so she doesn't know you're doing it. Because if she knows you're, doing this thing, she's gonna get even more mad. So it has to be a subtle thing. You take a deep breath out through your mouth. Exhale through your mouth. Use your stomach. It looks like this. You open your mouth just a little bit, exhale, and then you breathe in through your nose, and then hold it for a sec. And then you subtly exhale again. What this does is it resets your state, and then you can respond instead of react. And then usually when you do that a few times and you're listening, just say, I apologize if you're bothered by the situation. Don't say I'm sorry. I'm sorry, there's a better way. Say, I apologize for the situation that you're bothered by. I'd like to hear what you have to say and what's bothering you. I'll listen. Chicks love to talk. Chicks love when you listen to them. So you just listen, and then usually when you're listening and you do the breathing, you can figure out what the problem is because you're in a better state and you're like, okay, this is easy. She's just bothered by something I said. I was a little autistic when I was talking and I just didn't see what I did. So, it's not a big deal. You can solve it really well in the right state. So that's the first thing. Don't react to situations, respond, and use that simple breathing to basically do that. The second thing that you don't want to do is not be in a position to walk away from the relationship. Now, what this looks like is you want to have abundance in your life. You want to have, say, you don't need to be talking to a bunch of girls, but you want to have a good profile on Instagram and your dating apps and ready. And you basically want to be willing, you need to be willing to walk away if things aren't going, if things aren't going the way that it's worth having that relationship. If it's not going to work out in the long term and you want a long-term relationship, there's no point in staying in that relationship. So you have to be willing to walk away, especially if she's crossing your boundaries. There's not trust there, the attraction's gone. You need to be happy. That happiness, I always say, happiness comes secondary after being proud of yourself and, upholding your honor and building a legacy if that's your thing. Happiness comes after that stuff. Happiness basically follows that. If you're doing all that stuff, happiness will follow. So, but also saying that, dating, that's where happiness, you want the happiness there. That's the one part of your life that you really want happiness present, and you want to focus on that. If you're not happy in the relationship, there's no point in it. So you're gonna have to be willing to walk away if things aren't going right. And like I was saying, abundance helps with that. Knowing that you're the man, you can get another relationship going if you walk away, and you have to have enough guts and balls to actually break up with the girl. It's hard. I just broke up with a girl and it was hard. I was sitting there, I'm like, geez, I really don't want to do this. But I'm thinking, hey, I'm gonna feel even more guilty for myself for staying in the relationship, and for her keeping her in the relationship, even though, you know, the attraction's kind of faded. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And then the third thing, super important, you have to know how to set, and so many guys talk about this, set frame. I'll explain what frame is, and be a leader in the relationship. Because I've had so many relationships where the girl would say, oh, you know, I don't mind setting up this date or doing this and, you know, leading in this sort of way. They say that, and then the next week they're like, oh, why aren't you leading? And then it's like, you said you wanted to. So just do yourself a favor and always be leading, always be taking charge. And, you know, there's a time for the girl to get in there and you know, kind of initiate stuff. But most of the time, just take the lead, because there's no negative to it. Girls like a guy that leads and like shows her the way, her guide through life, and that rock that she can really rely on. It's a super important thing to keep in mind, and really just set it straight. And the more you do it, the easier it is. I remember the first relationships that I was getting in, I was just like, oh, should I do this? Now it's just kind of natural. You get in the natural swing of things. And the way that you get into the natural swing of things, a lot of guys and a lot of girls and whoever wouldn't really see eye to eye about what I'm about to say, and it might bother them, but fuck it, I don't care. It is the truth. Numbers, baby. Go out with a shitload of women. Just go crazy. Just do it as soon as you can. Just go on a tear and see women after woman after woman after woman. Go insane. You'll find out what kind of girl you like. You'll get way better in dating, like super quick, and you have more success, because success comes with punching out the numbers. It goes with sales, it goes with dating, it goes with businesses, sales, everything's sales basically. But it's a numbers game. Dating is a numbers game, especially when you're on the apps. You have to go crazy with the swipes. Yeah, always be leading, taking charge, you know, set up the dates. She likes that. If you ask a girl, where do you want to eat? She's never going to give you an answer. Sometimes she does. Sometimes it's good. I went out with this Indian chick before. She had the best recommendation for a restaurant ever. So there are exceptions, and that's one of the exceptions. If she wants to go somewhere nice and she mentions it, say, hey, I remember when you mentioned this restaurant. Let's go to this restaurant. Let's go check it out. So, you know, the main thing, I want to give you a bonus that I just thought of right now. The main thing when you're going through all this stuff, when you're just dating and keeping all this stuff in mind, is just have fun with it. Don't overthink things too much. Just take these few things and run with it, and you'll find out for yourself. You'll mess up. You'll make mistakes. You'll, in the words of Magic School Bus, you'll get messy. But that was a freaking awesome show, Magic School Bus. You make mistakes. You get messy. I forget the rest of it, but now I want to watch Magic School Bus now. But I digress. Just have fun, guys. Don't overthink it. Just be retarded up in your brain for 2 seconds and accept that you don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything, and that's the beauty of life. You know, look up some Alan Watts quotes. He's a G. I think he says something kind of like that. And explore that stuff. If you really want to relax into things, just listen to a bunch of Alan Watts recordings, and it'll just open your mind to just letting go and letting things kind of be. But use those 3 things as a guideline to kind of think up in the back of your mind. But that's basically it for me right now. But God bless, guys. You guys got this. You guys are legends. Go forth and conquer, and you know, build a legacy. Build a legacy with a girl. Go get a girl and make her your queen. So, jeez, it's been a long day. But God bless, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.